Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon ZA, Age of Imprisonment, Metroid Prime 4, RE9, Pokopia, Pragmata, Tomodachi, Indiana. These are only a handful, well, actually 2 handfuls, of the absolutely amazing games that have been released on the Nintendo Switch 2. 1 year ago today, providing I get this edited and uploaded in time, I'm writing the script like 2 weeks in advance and I'm filming it 2 weeks in advance. Nintendo released their latest and, in my opinion, best console to date, the Nintendo Switch 2. Hang on, I just want to interrupt this video real quick to say that you should head over to skinpixel.co.uk to get your hands on a custom controller. Skinpixel make tons of different designs for controllers, all current gen consoles, Switch 1, Switch 2, PS4, PS5 and all the Xbox series. They also take commissions, so you can tell them how you want your controller to look and they will paint it, or you can send in your own design like I did. I made all of this in Photoshop and just sent it in, and then Carl painted all of this and sent it back looking like this, and it's absolutely amazing. They also do controller repairs, so if there's a fault with your controller, you can send it in and get it sent back like good as new. And they also do controller modifications as well. They can add TMR sticks like this one has, and they can also add USB-C to any controller that doesn't have USB-C already. Carl was nice enough to add both of these TMR sticks and the USB-C to my controller when he sent the order across. Hit the link in the description below and use code Nintenjosh10 to get 10% off your entire order. Big thank you to Carl for letting me join his affiliate program. As I've mentioned many times over the last year, I absolutely love the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't have many games for it because we're not all made of money, but I do my research, I watch videos, I read reviews. The Nintendo Switch 2's launch game was Mario Kart World. When the game was first announced back in January, everyone was so excited and hyped for what we thought at the time was Mario Kart 9. And then the release date got closer and closer, and we got more and more excited. And then it released. And everyone loved it. When the console released, it was awesome. There were so many great reviews for the game, the online lobbies were packed, everyone was having so much fun. That didn't last long. After a couple of months, the lobby stopped being full and it felt like people weren't interested in the game as much. I think Nintendo should have released DLC for this game a couple of months after they released it, like they did with DK Bonanza. There's still a small chance that they could release DLC for Mario Kart World, but it feels very unlikely at this point. Luckily for those Nintendo fans that didn't want to spend $80 on a kind of lackluster game, Mario Kart World wasn't the only launch game for the Switch 2. The launch games for this console were Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, we'll get to that, Cyberpunk, Street Fighter 6, Bravely Default, Fortnite, Split Fiction, Yakuza O Director's Cut, Hogwarts Legacy, Hitman World of Assassination, Deltarune, Guardians of Azuma, Fast Fusion, No Man's Sky, Sonic and Shadow Generations. There's more, but we don't have time to go through all of them. Not only did they release all of those games that were mostly fantastic, but we also got a Switch 2 version of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, we also got a free upgrade from the Switch 1 version, but it was a physical game that they released on day one. Now, like I said, I didn't buy all of those games, but I heard things about a lot of them. The ones I got were Mario Kart World in the bundle with the console, the upgrades for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and Fortnite. Now I know Fortnite was released in 2017 and it was on Switch 1, but Switch 1 version did not run well, to say the least. But the Switch 2 version runs really well. There's no lag unless you have internet issues. There's no bad graphics. It runs as well as it does on my PS4, but the Switch 2 version has mouse controls, which makes it better than any other console version. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom both got upgrades from the Switch 1 version for them to run at 4K docked, 1080p handheld, enhanced HDR. They also bumped the FPS up from 30 to 60 and the load times are a lot quicker too. When I first booted up the Switch 2 versions of these games, I was blown away at how good they looked and how well they ran. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. That's something that should have been free with the console and not $10. It's just a tech demo showcasing what the console can do. Remember they made that for the Wii Sports? The tech demo that everyone loved so much that they turned it into an actual game. Yeah, that's what Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour should have been. Other than that, I liked it. It was pretty cool, and it had some fun mini games. The only thing I didn't like about it is that to be able to 100% this game, you need a TV that can support 4K, and we don't have one of those because we're poor.
Ew, poor!
I also ended up buying the Switch 2 version of No Man's Sky when it was on sale on the eShop. I'll be honest, I played like 30 minutes of it and then never touched it again because it's not my sort of game. But from what I played, the Switch 2 version looked really good. It looked like it had been done really well with the 1080p and the HDR. There were times in my 30 minutes of gameplay where I looked at it and thought, wow, this console is awesome. Just over a month after the console release, we got the first big first-party game for the Nintendo Switch, and that is, of course, Donkey Kong Bonanza. When the game first got announced, I think a few people were a bit skeptical, including myself. Then we got a DK Bonanza Direct, and everyone's skepticism went away. The game looked absolutely amazing and definitely something worth picking up. I did upload a full review video of this game after I'd 100% completed it, therefore I won't talk much about the game, but if you want to hear my thoughts on the game, just go check that video out. It's probably up there. No, up there. Yeah, it's up there. I played the majority of this game in handheld mode. I've got to stop putting this thing down because I keep needing to pick it back up. I've got to say, it looks absolutely amazing. Such good graphics, such great resolution, it just looks fantastic. A couple of months after the game released, they had the DLC for it, where they added DK Island and a mini game called Emerald Rush. I've heard very mixed reviews about this DLC, ranging from this DLC is almost as good as the game itself, to this DLC is absolutely terrible and not worth the $20 I paid for it. I didn't bother buying the DLC because it didn't seem worth the $20 that I would pay for it, but maybe one day I'll end up picking it up, who knows. Pokemon Legends ZA, a huge step up from the previous Pokemon games. Again, we've talked about Pokemon in recent videos, so go check that out up here. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment dives deeper into the lore of Tears of the Kingdom, whilst keeping the combat style from Age of Calamity. Then, in February, we got a global release for Resident Evil 9, and the Trilogy Pack, including 7, 8, and 9 released for the Switch. I haven't played RE9, but I've seen enough playthroughs. This game is absolutely fantastic, really good pacing and storytelling. I won't spoil anything for those of you who haven't played it, but honestly it's worth picking up if you like FPS games or past Resident Evil games, and I'd recommend getting it on the Switch. This game looks absolutely incredible on the Switch too. The only thing noteworthy is the hair, but Nintendo have never been good at hair. It looks almost as good as it does on PS5, which is absolutely insane for such a small device. Not even a week later, we got Pokemon Pokobia, which I may or may not have got addicted to for a few weeks. Again, I've already made a video about this game, so go check that out up here. Pokopia is a fun, relaxing blend of Animal Crossing, Minecraft, and Pokemon. You can craft, build, and explore, building homes and towns for your Pokemon to live in. After you beat the main story, the game does get a lot less interesting, and I've barely played it since I beat it. Later in the month of March, we got Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition Meet Up in Bellabelle Park. Wow, what a mouthful. I'll be honest, besides the direct showcasing this game, I didn't see anything about it. It's like a little park where you and a bunch of friends play some mini games, try to beat challengers and Koopalings. I don't know what the purpose is, but hey, go play it for yourself to find out. Then April comes, and we've got Tomodachi and Pragmata releasing one day after another. Tomodachi, the fun, weird and wacky game from the 3DS, is now on Nintendo Switch 2. Except this time the game has zero filter. You can make these Miis say whatever you like, which can lead to some funny moments or some really creepy moments. From what I've seen, and if you have seen anything about this game, gamers' main focus is creating Miis. They've created a drawing feature so you can draw whatever you like, which is cool. People are even making their own little stylie to use on the game. What these people are doing is getting a Q-tip, wrapping it in aluminium foil. Wait. How do you Americans say it? Aluminum. Then once you've done that, you just gotta honk to and spit on that thing, and it will work as an actual stylus apparently. That's the most cringiest thing I've ever said. Sorry. Pretty strange, but sometimes when you use your foul fingers, you won't be able to add as much detail as you'd like. Pragmata, another brilliant game by Capcom. I don't know much about the game, to be honest, but I played the demo, it was fun. People like Diana, her hair looks bad on Switch 2, but we saw that coming. Everything else looks amazing and astounding. Instead of just shooting at the enemies, because that does jack shit, you have to use Diana's hacking ability to shut down their defenses, then you can shoot them. I think that's a really cool gimmick rather than just shooting the enemies like straight away. Yeah, if you like puzzles and shooters, you should try Pragmata. At the time of writing the script, we are in the month of May 22nd. And Bethesda have just released Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. March 2017 was when the Switch 1 released, and 8 months later Bethesda released their first major game for the console, Skyrim, showing off just what the console can do. Now here we are again, 9 years later, and Bethesda have released their first major game, showing off what the Nintendo Switch 2 is capable of. And I'm not counting Fallout 4 because that game has been out for over a decade. Indiana is a cinematic first-person action-adventure game set in 1937 between the first and third movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. You set out on a globe-trotting journey, solving puzzles just like the movies. I've heard great things about this game, specifically the Switch 2 version and just how good it looks and runs. Last but not least, a couple of days before writing the script, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book has released. Now, why are they releasing this as part of Mario's 40th anniversary? I have no idea. If they were going to create a Yoshi game for that specific event, they should have at least made the one thing all us Yoshi fans want, a 3D platformer. Or something like that. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book keeps the feel of the classics, a 2D platformer with the friendly and cute art style. Woolly World was made out of yarn. Crafted World was made of all different art materials. Mysterious Book is made from drawings. But from recent reviews, the art style doesn't actually look great, at least in handheld mode, but when it's docked, it's fine. The game is very lackluster and way too hyped up for what it is, but if you're a Yoshi... The game is very lackluster, way too hyped up for what it is, but if you're a Yoshi lover, you should pick it up anyway, because it's Yoshi. So, we've been talking about all of these amazing games released for the Nintendo Switch 2. Where am I going with this? Well, not only am I recapping the last 12 months with this console, but I'm also giving you multiple reasons why you should consider picking one up if you haven't done so already. This thing is an absolute powerhouse, and as I've said before, as powerful as a PS4 Pro. Bear in mind I've played many games on my regular PS4 and some of them look worse than the Switch 2. It's just a brilliant console. It has the graphics that the Switch 1 should have had. It has the performance that the Switch 1 should have had. It has the games that the Switch 1 should have had. It has the quality. Do I need to say it again? I really cannot recommend the Nintendo Switch 2 enough. I've had it for exactly 12 months and I've played it for probably 300 of those days out of 365. The Switch 2 was definitely a step in the right direction for Nintendo, even though the Switch 1 is still selling incredibly well. It just doesn't perform as well as it needs to be able to keep competition with the other gaming brands. Like I said, I've loved the last 12 months with the Switch 2. I cannot wait to see what future games they put out there for the console. A new 3D Mario would be nice. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the whole video. Buy a Switch 2, you won't be disappointed. Not a sponsor, by the way, but Nintendo, if you're seeing this, hit me up. Yeah, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and bye.